Deadpool and Wolverine have been crushing the box office, but will Deadpool's crush him? A new See It or Skip It starts right now.
See it or skip it. See it or skip it. See it or skip it.
Welcome to a new See It or Skip It, where first we're going to be talking about It Ends With Us. This is an adaptation from Colleen Hoover, who I really did not know anything about this author, and finding out how big of a fan base she has. Go easy on me for this movie, first of all. Secondly, it is looking like it's going to crush in the box office because so many people are going out to watch this. It stars Blake Lively, and it's telling the story of her being raised in a domestic violence relationship with her parents, moving on to when she becomes an adult, she falls in love with somebody who's a neurosurgeon. That seems like it's the perfect match made in heaven, that they're going to have a happily ever after, but she starts to uncover some dark things about him and about how he treats people and how he handles relationships, and that's going to be the catalyst of whether she decides to stay, go, or continue to feed that trauma that she had when she was young. A homeless boy that she had met back when she was younger helped her to kind of overcome a lot of the trauma that was happening. They disappear from each other for a long time and reconnect later on in the film, and that's where you start to see some of the drama. But this isn't necessarily like a love triangle story. Jenny Slate plays Blake Lively's best friend as well as the sister to this person that she's infatuated with. I think she's probably the best part of this movie. I think she gives a great performance and is really good at bringing in the comedic relief during those important moments, and has one of the best lines in the entire film. This story wants to talk about serious issues and delve into domestic violence, but to me, I don't feel like they delve into it enough. Some of the stronger performances actually come from the person that played the younger Blake Lively. Her name is Isabella Ferrer. I think she does a fantastic job. She's probably the best performer of this entire film. Blake Lively is good, and I think she has good chemistry with her leads, and I do think that the topics and the conversations are treated with respect, albeit not necessarily covered to the extent that I hope that it would. But I think people that loved the book will go into this and still be satisfied with what they saw. Being someone myself that has dealt with personal experiences with domestic violence, and when it comes to parentage or anybody that's in a familiar relationship and having to deal with that stuff happening to them, there are so many different lived experiences on how that happens to each individual person. And that's why this film doesn't necessarily delve into the things that I had hoped it would. Now, it's not necessarily like trying to be a Hallmark, like cover only the broad surface of stuff. It does have something to say, but I do wish that they had explored it a little more and maybe not given so many passes to the abuser at the end of the film. I had a lot of issues with it, and I don't want to spoil too much of the movie. Suffice to say, if that's what it was like in the book, I really have a lot of problems with how this film ends. Apparently, there's going to be a sequel on the way. I don't know if this director is going to return to do it. It seems like there's a lot of drama behind the scenes between the director, Blake Lively, and the cast and crew. But overall, if you're a fan of the books, go check this out. If not, I'm not sure it's going to be something that you're interested in. And just a warning to anybody that has experienced domestic violence themselves, that has dealt with abuse, go in with knowledge that this might trigger you in some instances, but if it's something you want to see, definitely check it out. Next up, out in theaters now and going to be soon on Apple TV Plus, is The Instigators. This is directed by Doug Liman, stars Casey Affleck, Matt Damon. This is about two people that are on the run after trying to do a heist, stealing a ton of money from a corrupt political figure. Now they have to figure out how to work together to get away from the cops. Hong Chow, who we've seen in The Whale and The Menu, she is one of the character's therapists and gets caught along for the ride, having to basically talk them off a cliff, literally in some cases, to see if she'll be able to escape. And all in all, this is kind of a buddy comedy, heist gone wrong type movie that might be good for some people, but it doesn't necessarily have a strong enough story for you to remember later on. The pros, I do like the chemistry between Casey Affleck and Matt Damon. I think they do have strong banter between each other, and you're pretty engaged when they're having those moments, those comedic moments. And Hong Chow as well does a really good job. I especially like her dynamic with Casey Affleck's character. It's a very breezy runtime, coming in at 80 minutes, so this is one that you could watch and have pretty much the rest of your day. There's some pretty fun car scenes, there's some good action throughout the whole film. The problem is the writing and the story in this just don't really feel like the stakes are that high. I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's a little forgettable in that after you've seen this maybe a week or so later, you may forget even what the title is. I don't know what the Instigators means in response to this movie. I've seen the movie, no idea what the title is supposed to be implying based on what I've already seen. So whether you check this out in theaters, I'm not sure it's going to be worth your money to do that. However, once it's on streaming with Apple TV Plus, definitely worth a watch and one that I would say you should go see. And finally, if you want to stay home on the couch this week, Batman the Caped Crusader is out on Prime Video, and this is the highlight for my review segment today because I absolutely loved the original Batman the Animated Series that came out in the 90s, came from Bruce Timm, an incredible animation story about how they basically animated the entire thing on black paper, how they brought in the aesthetics and dynamics of Danny Elfman and Tim Burton's Batman while making it comics accurate and giving you incredible characters. Now they're doing that again with a new Prime Video series while taking it into more of an adult theme, much like what we saw with X-Men 97, and still holding true to the original series that we grew up and loved. Now, the elephant in the room with Caped Crusader is that the person who voiced Batman in the animated series, Kevin Conroy, who's one of the best voice actors that has ever been able to do that role, sadly passed away. So we don't have him for this, and at first you do feel that, but I do have to give a lot of credit to Hamish Linklater, who does such an amazing job of bringing this character back into life, not only being able to give you a good Bruce Wayne, but also a very good Batman. I like how he changes his voice and modulates it based on what he's doing. The Bruce Wayne that's in the cave working on a detective story versus the billionaire playboy philanthropist that's just hanging out, trying to do good, but also having to put on a playboy persona. He does a great job balancing those two things, then bringing us this detective story as Batman. And there are some great stories in this. They're really unique as well. You're not going to be expecting a lot of things that you're seeing when it comes to certain characters, their motivations, what their origins look like. And I think we can give a lot of grace to the story because they're doing stuff that is unique, but also creative with writing that you absolutely can delve into and sink your teeth into and have a good time with. The animation is beautiful. They bring that same style that they had in the original animated series. My only issue is that it's only about 10 episodes long. I think for each season, we definitely need about 50 episodes for me to feel completely satisfied with what I'm seeing. But otherwise, it is actually such a fun animated show. You can go through it an entire day and have a great time with it. So that is going to be my big see it for the weekend. And that's about all for the See It or Skip It. So make sure if you want to check out more, you go to abc4.com, click the shows tab, See It or Skip It, to see more interviews, reviews, news. Once again, I'm Patrick Beatty. Thank you so much as always for watching, and I will see you at the next review.
See it or skip it. See it or skip it. See it or skip it.